Your Country 1039 KGRT, Craig Morgan. And yeah, that's what I love about Sundays.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. It is time for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. A great way to find some awesome, unique Christmas gifts for your friends and your family, or, dare I say, co-workers. You know, company Christmas parties are coming up, that kind of thing. Well, our question of the day today, you know, with the new year, sometimes you are kind of looking for new opportunities, maybe a little job switch is in mind, but you know, there's a lot of things you think about, like, you know, I'd be pretty good at doing this or that, or maybe this job would be good for me. But, you know, and I think a lot of people that are in those fields will let you know, sometimes a job is much harder than it really seems. Yeah. For instance, I will give you a few examples. Teacher, that's a hard job. It really is much harder than it seems. Or this is one, caregivers. I know a lot of caregivers that are out there, and that is a hard job, and a lot of things go on that you'd have to be thinking about. Any customer-facing job, dealing with customers, you know, even stuff like fast food or any family business. Anytime you're working with your family, it's going to be much harder than most people think. So, you know, maybe you want to spread a little wisdom there, and I ask you this question. Which job do you think, or do you know, is much harder than most people think? Now, because I talk to people all the time, they think that what I do is a pretty easy job. And I'm not going to lie. You know, I sit in a small room and I talk to myself. It's a pretty easy gig. But there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that make it a little bit harder than you might think. And, you know, in fact, I even got it from my boss. You know, she said that, you know, pretty good at doing things, and, you know, got a little praise from the boss, so it was pretty awesome. And she said she wouldn't be able to do those things, which I thought was actually kind of cool to be able to admit that. But yeah, it's a little bit harder than people think. You know, I don't just sit here and talk to myself and play music. I mean, that's mostly what I do, but there's a few other things that go on behind the scenes, like I said. But what about you? Which job is much harder than most people think? Is there a job out there, you know, something like a wedding videographer or a delivery driver? Go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. You can call them in. You can text them in, 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. And, of course, we are live on our social media pages. And I must say, got to get myself centered here. On camera and online, I'm trying new Christmas backgrounds and a few new things out. Let me know what you think on that. But, yeah, go ahead and leave the comments for our question of the day. Which job is much harder than most people think? Your question of the day brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. Okay, all the appropriate buttons are pushed. Excuse me a second. A little something in my throat this morning. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Trying to drink the coffee and the tea to see if anything helps. But yeah, here we go. You know, there are a lot of jobs out there. A lot of people thinking about switching jobs, changing careers. I think my mom told me once that most people change their job like in a major way at least 3 times during their lifetime. So, you know, you're thinking about doing something, changing it up a little bit. Well, maybe you're thinking about the job might be a little bit harder than you would actually think it is. So I'm asking you this question right here. Which job is much harder than most people think? And I know we're going to get a lot of people that do certain things to go ahead and answer in there. Like, I'm sure we've got a few dog groomers out there. Not easy dealing with some of the pooches out there, right? Yeah, I know. Or even a server. Actually, I know servers work really, really hard right there. That's why they deserve all the tips that they can get. You know, salesperson in general. Obviously construction labor, like installing tile or roofing, that's a skill. That's a major skill right there. That is a little bit harder than people think. So go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. Call them in, text them in, leave your comments down below. Which job is much harder than most people think? And the two that come to mind immediately when I think about that are definitely teacher. I know teachers, how hard the teachers work and caregivers as well. In fact, I think I used to think that I could be a pretty good teacher, but I don't know. And I know that I would not be a very good caregiver because that is really a tough job. So let me know your answers, though. Which job is much harder than most people think? Go ahead and let me know your answers by calling them in, texting them in. And of course, you can do that at 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. And of course, leaving your comments down below as well, as we are live right now. So let's go ahead and see what's going on in and around the world these days. Let's see. The LA Daily News says that Mariah Carey, Chappell Roan, Post Malone, Sierra, Goo Goo Dolls, 50 Cent, Charlie Puth, One Republic, and Pitbull. That's a heck of a mix right there. But they are all going to be performing on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve on December 31st on ABC. They always have an interesting night there. Let's see. Full House's star Dave Coulier is battling tongue cancer after overcoming lymphoma. Coulier, 66, expects shock at the new diagnosis. So prayers going out for him. Actually, a great comedian, too. Let's see. Timothy Chalamet recently welcomed a Pitbull Terrier mixed puppy into his life. The actor hasn't named his furry pet yet. Fans are curious to see if the puppy will join Chalamet on his travels. I think he's really going to enjoy owning a pitty in there because those are awesome dogs. And I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently people are using onions to determine their holiday budget this year. Yeah, it's called the onion method. And basically, the center of the onion represents the center of your life. Those are the folks that you prioritize the most. If you are in a budget, then you work your way outside the ring in terms of amount of money that you're going to spend. So, okay, I see. It's layers. I can't do a good Shrek right there. Yeah, it's layers. So, of course, you're the center, and the closer to the center, the more willing you are to go ahead and get that done. That's an interesting way to think about it, but I think we've been doing that for a long time. So that I don't think it's anything new. Call it what you want. Priorities. That's what I say. Once again, we are looking for answers for our question of the day today. You know, new year coming up. Maybe lots of people thinking about changing careers or getting some, getting something new in there. But there's a lot of jobs out there that seem easier than you think. So which job do you think is much harder than most other people think? Something that you do, and a lot of people say, oh, that's an easy job, and they have no idea. Yeah, go ahead and let me know your answers. Call them in, text them in, 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-KGRT, 523-5478. Forgot to put the numbers in there. And, of course, you can leave your comments down below. By the way, let me know what you think of the background and the little new format right here. Just trying something new for the holidays. So go ahead and leave your comments on that as well. English is hard. See, not as easy as people think. But of course, leave your answers as well for our question of the day. Which job is much harder than most people think? Your question of the day brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces.